A few months back, I heard rumblings about this movie called Renfield, where Nicolas Cage was playing Dracula. I thought that was wonderful. Lately, Cage has been taking on these movies that I feel have been him pushing his abilities as an actor. Movies like Mandy, The Color Out of Space, and Pig. Smaller indie films that let the actor shine. Renfield also falls into this category. Renfield's a horror comedy, but I feel it's so much more. The movie focuses on the lesser character of Renfield from the 1931 Dracula. Renfield's the real estate agent who's doomed to become Dracula's servant for all eternity. It's now hundreds of years later, and Renfield is tired of his job but knows he has no way out. The movie was an absolute treat. It showed a great love of the Dracula lore and has some clever ways of bringing it to today's audience. Not in the typical dumbing down way, but in completely smart ways. I don't want to spoil some of the jokes, so I'll just say it was with the ways that Dracula was able to circumvent the rules, like being able to enter a house, for example. The opening was outstanding, with them redoing footage from the old black and white movie to explain Renfield's past history. Really well done. It was directed by Chris McKay, who previously worked on stuff like Moral Orel, Robot Chicken, Lego Batman, and The Tomorrow War. Much like Moral Orel, the movie has that dark, razor-sharp, cynical wit mixed with optimism. It seems like that shouldn't work, but somehow it does. Nicolas Cage is having an absolute blast as Dracula. He's hamming it up in all the right ways and made the character so much more than just Nick Cage vampire. However, I think Nicholas Hoult deserves so much credit. While people are going to be talking about Cage's performance, Hoult was the foundation for the film, and he nailed it. He was sympathetic, funny, and badass, somehow all at the same time. The way his character grew throughout the film was laid out wonderfully. There's so many bits I want to talk about, but I just don't want to ruin them. You really need to enjoy them for yourself. Awkwafina was a little weak in the beginning, but she grew on me as the film progressed. I flat out disliked her in the beginning, but about halfway through, I started to understand her character more and started to like her. To me, it was kind of like Tree in Happy Death Day, where she's very abrasive, but then once you discover why she's that way, you understand her character and start to sympathize. I love the practical effects in the film. Yes, there was some CG, but it was right for the moments and never overdone. I was also genuinely surprised by just how bloody the film was. After seeing so many neutered horror films the past few years, here comes this horror comedy with these insanely violent kills. Seriously, the movie pulls no punches when it comes to death and dismemberment. Definitely from somebody who grew up on a steady diet of the Evil Dead. Another thing I wasn't expecting was the action. For a horror comedy, this has some amazing action sequences. When Renfield powers up, he's awesome. The fights are well choreographed and funny. Like John Wick level, but with superpowers. On top of everything else, this story was terrific. I really had no idea what to expect from the movie beyond Nicolas Cage as Dracula. I avoided all the trailers and went in completely blind. This made me appreciate it even more. Renfield is one of the best films I've seen in a long time. Everything in the movie obviously comes from a place of love. The story, the comedy, the action, and the pacing are all great. I'll be honest, so many of the newer movies I've seen lately have been so dull and uninspired that this was a major breath of fresh air. It was downright refreshing to finally see a newer movie that I genuinely loved. It's unintentionally the best Dark Universe film, as if that was still a thing. It's the right amount of serious and silly. So many jokes land, and the way the whole thing ends just had me grinning. It was perfect. Everyone involved should be proud of this one. I really think the movie's going to find its audience on home video, and it's only going to grow from there. Renfield, in my humble opinion, is an instant classic.